Welcome to Police Beat. I'm Detective Jim Kaufman, sitting in today for Tom Merson, who is a bit under the weather. Very interesting show this time. We'll be talking with Fire Chief Ruben Grijalva on what the city has done to prepare itself for terrorist incidents. We'll meet Agent Glenn Brose. He's going to tell you how to get some free gun locks to protect your family. We'll meet another one of our police officers, and in one of the most favorite segments here, we'll have some time with our animals down at the Animal Services Center. Stay with us.
Hi, my name's Dave Floor, and I'm a police detective for the city of Palo Alto. In 1990, I left a job working for Santa Clara County and came to work for Palo Alto Police. I've been fortunate to be assigned to several different units over the years. After working patrol for a time, I was assigned to the traffic unit. Well, I was in the right place at the right time and was assigned to the newly reformed motorcycle team in 1995. When I had started, the chance of a motorcycle unit being started seemed next to impossible. Well, it was during my time on motors that I began to write a column for the Palo Alto Daily News called The Traffic Stop. I really enjoyed writing every week, for it gave me a way to show that cops, especially traffic cops, are human, can make mistakes, and can have a sense of humor. My favorite question was from a reader who asked if it was okay to rent a U-Haul moving van, fill the back with his friends and beer, and then drive it to a rock concert. I told him to get his deposit back. Today, Agent Paul Sheff continues to answer the questions related that are sent in. After I returned to patrol, I became a field training officer, training new recruits just out of the academy. I found teaching while sitting in the passenger seat of a patrol car to be a challenging but rewarding experience. This past July, I was assigned as a property crimes detective. Now, this assignment has been one I've wanted to do since I first started, and I'm finding it every bit as enjoyable as I had hoped. I like to spend time with my wife and 2 kids when I'm not here. I've always enjoyed woodworking since I worked in a cabinet shop back in college. I had no idea back then what I'd be building in my garage today. I got my pilot's license a few years back and decided that I wanted to build an airplane of my own. Now, not just any airplane would do. Instead, I wanted one out of wood and fabric. A little over a year ago, I began to build a replica of a de Havilland Tiger Moth. The Tiger Moth was a biplane used by the British to train their new pilots how to fly. I got a chance to fly a Tiger Moth replica 2 summers ago in North Dakota. With any luck, I hope to be flying in early 2003. Now, if I can only get the department to start up an air unit.
Hi, I'm Agent Glenn Brose of the Palo Alto Police Department for Crime on the Street. The Palo Alto Police Department, in conjunction with Lucille Packard Children's Hospital and the Safe Kids Coalition of San Mateo and Santa Clara counties, is making free gun locks available for anyone in the greater Palo Alto area. What I'd like to do today is give you information on where to obtain the locks, show you how the locks are used, and give you some numbers you can call so that I can get locks to you if you're in the Palo Alto area. I've got 3 guns in front of me here. As you can see, I have a rifle, semi-automatic pistol, and a revolver. The locks that are provided free of charge will work on all these types of weapons, as well as lever-actuated rifles and shotguns. The locks are very simple to use. It's just a simple cable with a padlock on the end and a key lock. Now, prior to me showing you how these locks work, we want to make sure in gun handling, the first thing we do is make sure that all guns are unloaded. So before you handle any firearm, ensure that there's no ammunition in the gun or in the immediate area. In this case, these guns have all been pre-checked before we started the segment today. I'm going to show you on the rifle first how this lock works. Again, it's a simple cable lock. You merely open it up. You find the action part of your weapon. In this case, it would be the magazine well through the bolt on the top. Merely take the cable, place it through the magazine well, pass the bolt, lock it in place, remove the key. Voila, you now have a safe firearm that can be stored safely in your home. Access by children or anyone else should be limited, but if they do get their hands on it, now it's safe and can be handled without any danger of it being shot. Next gun we're going to do is a semi-automatic pistol. Again, it's the same idea. You take the cable with the lock. You open the action of the gun like it is here with the slide back. Merely slide the cable down through the ejection port in the magazine well. Lock it. The gun is now locked and rendered safe. Go ahead and open this one up. Next gun we're going to do is the revolver over here, a little bit different. What you do is you open the cylinder on a revolver, slide the cable through one of the open cylinder ports, slide the cable back through what's called the top strap, this area up on the top. Merely lock the cable in place and remove the key. Now you have a safely locked weapon that can be stored. If you're interested in one of these gun locks, you can contact me directly at the Palo Alto Police Department. The phone number is area code 650-329-2406. I can also be reached by voicemail at area code 650-617-3100, voicemail box 1817. If you live outside the Palo Alto area, you can still obtain the gun locks free of charge by calling the Santa Clara County Public Health Department Violence Prevention Program at area code 408-885-7924. You can also call the Safe Kids Coalition of Santa Clara County at 650-736-2981. Our goal on Crime on the Street is to keep crime off the street, and one of the ways we do that is by taking guns off the street or at least rendering them safe when they're in someone's home. We all have the responsibility to keep the kids of this county safe. I'm Glenn Brose for Crime on the Street. Thank you.
Welcome to Police Profiles. I'm Detective Jim Kaufman, sitting in for Tom Merson, who is a bit under the weather today. I don't have to tell anyone that since September 11th, there has been unprecedented attention devoted to the subject of terrorism. However, not much of that attention has been focused on threat preparedness. What do you, as a Peninsula resident, need to know about this potentially catastrophic threat? Today, I'll be speaking with Palo Alto's Fire Chief Ruben Grijalva about terrorism from a local perspective. Chief, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jim.
Well, you know, there's always been this rivalry between the police and the fire. You know, you cook better chili and maybe we do better at bowling. But I understand that you were at one time a police officer. Is that right?
Yes, Jim. I spent 16 years with Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety prior to coming to Palo Alto about 12 years ago now.
So you did both police and fire at that time?
Yes, I did.
Well, then you're okay in my book, and I'm happy to have you here today. Now you're the point man for our disaster preparedness here in Palo Alto, is that right?
Yes, the Office of Emergency Services is currently within the fire department, and that's what we spend our time doing, is preparing people for disasters.
And one of the disasters, obviously, now is the threat of terrorist events. What's the fire department done to prepare itself for any response to these types of incidents?
Well, actually, it's been a multi-department approach to dealing with preparation for terrorism. The police department has actually taken the lead in dealing with these issues and preparedness internally within the city. Public Works, utilities, and other departments, as well as the fire department, have been involved with that. As a fire department, we've been involved more regionally in preparing. We've organized meetings and met with agencies such as the Santa Clara County Public Health Department, Federal Bureau of Investigation, other law enforcement agencies, and local fire departments as well in preparing for a regional response to any kind of incident.
So this is much like a mutual aid response to a large fire?
Yes, if we were to have a terrorist incident anywhere in Santa Clara County, it would result in a regional response. There's no individual city that's prepared to deal with a large terrorist type incident without support from local jurisdictions.
So right now, though, here in Palo Alto, and the fire department here does also fire services for the Stanford University campus. What do we have here right now to handle let's say, a suspicious letter? Well,
we have 24 hours a day. We have 7 engine companies on duty. We have a rescue company or a hazardous materials response team, a truck company, and 2 paramedic ambulances. If we were to have call of a suspicious letter or package, which we've had since September 11th, over 140 of those type calls.
140, is that, I suppose that's up from prior to September 11th?
Yeah, prior to September 11th, we responded on an average of 1 or 2 hazardous materials incidents a month. And now we're responding on 8 to 10 a day, or at least potential threats of hazardous materials.
Now, none of them have turned out to be a hazardous material, is that right?
No, we've not had any.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's a good thing.
As I mentioned, we had 140 envelopes in which people called in as being suspicious or possibly containing anthrax, which we've responded on. We've taken those letters from the people, and we've actually physically opened them to determine if there was anything inside that posed a risk. And in all 140 cases, we have found that there was no risk.
What was the most unusual thing that was in one of these packages?
Probably the most unusual thing we had was one person who had an animal cremated, and it was the remains of the animal being returned to the owner.
And obviously they forgot that it was being shipped to them or something like that.
Yes, they obviously forgot, and in fact on the bottom of the package was the name of the crematorium in which it was being returned from, but we have returned the remains to the owner at this point.
But they were concerned. They may have been even frightened, and they called 911, I suppose, for this response. And we were more than willing to send the fire department out to help them out, right?
Yes, that's true. There's definitely a heightened level of concern, possibly even a fear factor. You know, the purpose of terrorism is to create fear, and I think the events of September 11th have created a fear and anxiety nationwide. In some cases, it's reasonable, and in some cases, it's not reasonable.
And of course, in all of our cases, there was no indication at all of any type of anthrax or anything that could be hazardous.
That's correct. There has not been a single case of an actual anthrax exposure anywhere in California or on the West Coast.
Well, then why should we in Palo Alto be concerned about being prepared for this?
Well, I think since September 11th, as the President of the United States has said, it is a new world. And, you know, the position that we're taking with our community and what we've been going out and asking our residents to do and our businesses is to be vigilant, but not to be fearful. And to us, being vigilant means being prepared. It means taking the steps to be prepared for any kind of a disaster, not just a terrorist threat, but any kind of disaster which might befall us in Palo Alto.
We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back from our break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Officer Heather Akins of the Palo Alto Police Department, currently assigned to hiring and training. If you've ever thought about a career with the Palo Alto Police Department and law enforcement, now's the time to apply. With so many agencies, you may wonder, why Palo Alto? We offer a great 4-11 work schedule, which means you work 4 11-hour days and have 4 days off every week. We offer competitive salaries, excellent benefits, and have a variety of specialty positions to offer. But mostly, we have a unique group of people who are amazing to work with and learn from. If you think you have what it takes to be a Palo Alto police officer, call today for an application. Our number is 329-2601, or visit us on the web at www.papd.org.
It takes talented people to create movie fires like this scene from Backdraft. But in real life, fire isn't such a pretty picture. So think fire prevention, because in real life, you write the script. A message from the International Association of Firefighters.
Welcome back. We're here with Palo Alto Fire Chief Ruben Grijalva, talking about the preparedness for any type of terrorist incidents here in the Palo Alto area. Chief, before we left for break, I was asking you about the Palo Alto Fire Department's response to, let's say, a suspicious package. What can someone expect when they call 911 when they get a strange-looking letter in the mail?
Well, first of all, if someone calls 911 because they've received a suspicious letter or package, they could expect to hear some directions from the 911 operator. Basically, what the operator will tell them is to leave the room, to leave the package where it is, to not allow anybody else to enter the room, to wash their hands thoroughly for about a minute with cold water, soap and cold water, and then to meet the arriving emergency response company at the street.
Now, when you say arriving, how many fire trucks are going to show up there in front of their door?
On the initial response, they'll get an engine company with 3 people and a hazardous materials response team with 3 people. So 2 pieces of large fire equipment with red lights and siren and 6 people.
Now, do you have any special equipment that you wear or use when responding to these calls?
Yes, the first thing that's going to happen, though, is when they meet the person at the street, they're going to go through a series of questions that have been developed actually by a joint terrorism task force made up of emergency responders and FBI and law enforcement personnel, just to get some information to determine what they might be facing when they enter the room. Based on the responses from the individual, the level of protection that they might wear could vary. But once they've determined the information, they'll enter the location where the suspicious package or letter is. They'll size up the area. They'll determine if there's any powder or any substance, a foreign substance that needs to be taken into consideration. If not, they'll take the letter or the package and they'll double contain it, double package it in airtight bags and transport it to a hazardous material storage site within the city for opening it at a later date.
So you're going to be handling every situation like it was the real thing.
Yes, we do treat every instance as though it's real. We've been on over 140 false ones, but it only takes one to make a difference to the safety of our firefighters, so we treat everyone like it's real.
Exactly. So if this happens during the day and the kids are at school, what type of arrangements have been made to make sure the school children are safe?
Actually, again, Palo Alto Police Department has taken the lead in developing a plan with the local school district in how to deal with disasters. It was developed shortly after the Columbine incident so that the school could have a well-coordinated response and approach to dealing with the arriving police and fire units that would arrive for any kind of emergency. Mm-hmm. There's a system that's put in place so that the school will establish people who will make sure that they know who was at school that day and take an attendance to make sure they know who's there and how to get them home if they need to get them home. In addition to that, our Office of Emergency Services is working with the school district and providing training to the teachers on disaster preparedness activities, and we also have a liaison with the school district. In the event of a large event, we would actually have someone from the school district in the city's Emergency Operations Center as a liaison to communicate effectively with the school district.
So we're talking about preparedness today. Give me a couple things that you would tell a homeowner here in Palo Alto. What could they do to prepare themselves for a terrorist attack?
Well, I think we take the approach that preparation for terrorism should be no different than preparation for any other kind of disaster, and that is homeowners should be prepared to be self-sufficient for the first 72 hours to 5 days. Food and water, medical supplies, if they take prescription drugs, having a battery-operated radio so that in the event of a loss of power they could listen to information that would come out from the city of an emergency nature. We ask residents to have a family plan and to discuss the plan with their family members, their children, to have a communications plan. In the event that an event occurs while they are separated, how will they find out that the other member of the family is okay? One of the things we recommend is that they have someone who lives outside the area and that each family member call that relative outside the area to give them their status, their location, and how they're doing. We would encourage people to have a system of communications either by telephone or by cellular phone. We would encourage people to know the local 7-digit number to call the city with an emergency from a cellular phone. So those are a few of the steps that we ask people to take.
Now, is there one central number where someone can call and get more information?
Yes, they can call the fire department's number at area code 650-329-2184, and they can get general information about disaster preparedness, or if they'd like someone from the Office of Emergency Services to come and provide some training to them, a group, a homeowners association, we could schedule that, come out and visit them.
Well, I think that's one of the first phone calls I'm going to make when I leave here today. Chief, thank you for being here. And this is Jim Kaufman for Police Profiles. Police Beat will be right back.
They came from every corner of the country, from small towns and big cities. But they all shared one thing in common. They belonged to a family called Marines, a tough and determined few dedicated to protecting everything we hold sacred. And still, they come. Celebrate the 225-year history of those proud few who have earned the title Marine.
Hi, I'm Agent Curtis Jackson, and welcome to Traffic Talk. As part of our duty to serve and protect, the members of the Palo Alto Police Department are constantly on the lookout for drunk drivers. They are a hazard to everyone on the road. If you are arrested and convicted of drunk driving, you face significant fines, penalties, jail times, and raised insurance rates. This year, beginning in the third week of December and continuing through the first week of January, the Palo Alto Police Department will participate in an annual anti-drunk driving program known as Avoid the 13. Every law enforcement agency in Santa Clara County, including the Highway Patrol, will provide officers to go out and actively seek out drunk drivers. There will also be DUI roadblocks and checkpoints throughout the county. Similar programs will be happening in neighboring San Mateo and Alameda counties. My message to you and to everyone out there is this: if you're gonna drink, don't drive. Take a taxi or have a designated driver. Save yourself the experience of being arrested for drunk driving. For Traffic Talk, I'm Agent Curtis Jackson.
Hi, we're at the animal shelter talking to Sandra Patari. I'm going to ask her about adopting a pet at Christmas time and whether that's a good idea or not. Hi, Sandra.
Hi, Tom.
Thanks for being here. I wanted to ask you, a lot of people come to the shelter at Christmas time to adopt a pet. Generally speaking, is that a good idea?
A lot of people do, and we certainly understand that because they're adorable. However, most people come looking for their children, and it's a good idea to have your child involved in selecting the pet to make sure that the pet is appropriate for the child's age. It's also not a real good idea to present a gift that takes on sort of the same fashion as a toy. Toys can be discarded, and dogs and cats and rabbits can't. So I think that kids also need to understand the responsibility involved in owning a pet, which is kind of one of the reasons people come in to adopt pets in the first place with their children.
Now, you mentioned age as a factor for the child. Mm-hmm. At what age would a parent generally reasonably consider giving a pet at Christmas time to a child?
Well, again, we kind of discourage the whole process of giving the animal as a gift at Christmas. However, although it's individual, somewhere around 7 is probably a good age. The child can understand to leave the animal alone when it doesn't want to be touched. It can learn, it can understand how to take care of a pet to some degree, but it's still the parent's responsibility.
Now, if a family or an individual has seriously considered the idea of adopting a pet at Christmas, what do you think about that?
It's still a very hectic time of year, so if it's going to be hectic at your house, lots of company, lots of unwrapping, lots of tinsel and ornaments, then we discourage it. If it's going to be a family who's at home and quiet, then perhaps it might be okay if everybody was involved in the selection process.
What might be some good alternative?
One of the things that we recommend is giving a collar or a leash if you're considering giving a dog at some point, cat toys if you're considering giving a cat at some point. One woman bought a pooper scooper for her son because she wanted him to understand that that was also part of dog care. And they came in a couple weeks later and chose a really nice dog for him.
Well, thanks, Sandra. I appreciate it. Sure. We're going to go out now and take a look at what animals might be available for adoption at the shelter.
Kittens, kittens, and more kittens. All kittens have been spayed or neutered, microchipped, dewormed, and vaccinated. Betty is a 3-year-old female cat looking for a quiet, cozy home where she can reign supreme. Dolly is also a 3-year-old female cat with a charming personality and plenty of love to give. Sugar, a 1-year-old female chow, would do great with adults who are experienced with dog ownership. PJ, a 5-month-old golden retriever puppy, is sweet and gentle and very shy. Cookie is a 7-month-old female staff terrier. Highly affectionate and energetic, Cookie lives for those long walks on her leash. And we always have a selection of furry, cuddly rabbits waiting for adoption. To see these and other animals up for adoption, visit the Palo Alto Animal Shelter. We're located at 3281 East Bayshore Road in Palo Alto.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of Police Beat. We're always looking to hear from you. Please call us, write us, email us. The numbers are on your screen. For Police Beat, I'm Jim Kaufman.